Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Guardians of the CLE podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Kirby, and with me here, as always, my co-host, double play partner, James Ellifritz. And James, how are you holding up after 7 straight West Coast road games to open the year?
Sleep deprived, but happy that we are coming back 5-2, baby.
Yeah,
5-2
straight series wins to open the year. I'm not gonna lie, this podcast is the only thing keeping me awake right now.
Me too.
I got out of work and I was okay. I'm watching the game, everything's fine. About an hour ago, it hit me. It all hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I feel like West Coast games, it's 10 o'clock at night, it's kind of like a vibe. You're like, all right, let's go get energy drinks. We're gonna stay up. This is fun. But then it's like once you're at the end of it, it's just this weird feeling of like my sleep schedule is messed up. And the older I get, and I wake up at 5:30 in the morning for work, it just doesn't mix well with me.
See, you get tongue-tied when you're tired too.
Yeah, see, I'm like, this is going to be a fun episode. But like I said, Guardians open the year 5-2, 2 straight series wins. There's a lot we have to get to tonight. Just some talking points I've kind of been having with people over the last few games is, the relievers' velocities are down. It's funny, James, because before we kind of get into these game recaps, this has been such an interesting talking point. I didn't really notice it as much with Trevor Stephan and Enyel De Los Santos. Actually, someone else brought it up to me that their velos were down as well. I noticed it when Clase was pitching the night he blew the save. And I got concerned. I'm like, please tell me he's not hurt. Because he was sitting like 96, 97 when he's normally at like 101. So I'm like, man, please don't tell me we're starting the year like this. Then, someone, I think it may have been Zach, was like, no, Trevor Stephan and De Los Santos, they're both down too. So what do you think this is more of it was chilly out, it's, the first week of the season, or could it be maybe even some pitch clock adjustments? Like, I imagine it's got to be pretty tough to throw over 100 miles an hour like every 20 seconds.
Yeah. I mean, conditioning, they just came from Arizona. They have a strong off-season program. But I think, temperature could have been it. Was it the Sunday game? Were you watching the Sunday game in Seattle where they were closing the roof in like the 6th inning or something like that? Because
yeah,
I think rain was in the forecast, which no kidding, Seattle, right? Well, I don't understand.
Stay closed.
Yeah, but like, why don't you just shut the roof in the first place? Was it cost too much money or something like that?
Well, then they had to stop it because at that point, I think it was between like the pitcher's mound and home plate, and they didn't want like one to be in the shadows, one not to. So it's like they did this all during an inning. I know it takes longer than the commercial break to close that big thing, but yeah, there's so many weather unknowns when we start the season very end of March, heading into April. Rain's always a possibility, snow's a possibility. For this next week, the Guardians are going to be in town. It's going to be in the 40s one day and then up to 70 the next day. Luckily, there's not much rain in the forecast for next week, though. So crossing our fingers, I think we may get lucky weather-wise here for now.
Yeah, I know, and it's so early. Coming. Here it is, we're recording this Wednesday night, and we're just hoping that it's, the weather's going to hold off, because we know in Ohio how quickly that can flip.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm glad we're getting this bad storm right now, and I'm glad it's coming now. They got an off day tomorrow. Friday's looking nice. Good Friday, Easter weekend. So the vibes should be immaculate down at Progressive Field. But before we get into that, let's kind of recap the week that was. And I was like a kid on Christmas Eve waiting for this season to begin, as I'm sure many of us were. And then opening day came and the bats didn't do anything. And I'm not going to put too much on the offense for this opening day 3-0 loss to Seattle for a few different reasons. And James, I'll see how you feel. Luis Castillo, I think he might win the AL Cy Young this year. He wasn't my preseason pick, but after watching him in his first 2 starts, he could very easily win the AL Cy Young this year. His stuff is filthy. And with a real team playing behind him, he's like on a whole new contract. He's on a whole nother level. His stuff's just disgusting. But there was a surprise in that lineup. Will Brennan started in place of Oscar Gonzalez. And, you know, we were told they're going to split time. They're going to make sure all these guys get at bats. Were you surprised when you saw Will Brennan in that lineup? I was happy, but I was also like, I kind of want to see SpongeBob. But I don't know, that would have made a difference. I mean, Will Brennan had that line drive single like off the hair of Castillo. That was like the only offense.
Yeah, I mean, it almost felt like, you know, that first game, when you saw the lineup with Brennan, I'm like, okay, I'm good with that. Because
I was surprised he did it. Tito did it. I give him credit.
Nothing surprises me. I mean, honestly, Tito should not surprise us really, or he should surprise us all the time. Look at Ryan Merritt. It starting game, what was that? Game 5 of the 2016 ALCS. Never had a major league start, and just throws him out there. You know, gut feeling. So Tito manages with his gut so well. And I was happy to see Brennan get out there and made some great contact too.
Yeah, he's been outstanding defensively too. Mm-hmm. We're going to get more into that in the Oakland series, but you know, we talk about Tito shouldn't surprise us, good or bad. And I made note of this from opening day just because I'm like, are we going to continue into this season where it's like you leave a starter in too long? You know, you don't pinch hit, which we didn't have a good bench last year. So I think that definitely played into it. But opening night, James Bieber went toe-to-toe with Castillo. He pretty much walked the tightrope all night. He was fine, though, pitching to contact. But then James Karinchak comes in. And the moment we've all been waiting for, all offseason, all our fears that he wasn't going to be able to adjust to the pitch clock. His routine was disrupted. How will he ever adjust? It all came to fruition the very first night of the 2023 season. He got his first pitch clock violation. And the Seattle fans, which Seattle, underrated, Pacific Northwest, very underrated sports fans. I mean, it was opening night and they were acting like it was the ALDS, just like I was on my couch. So like relatable. But they started counting down the pitch clock, but they were like 3 seconds ahead. And I never thought about how much crowds could impact the game by doing that. And, you know, Andre Knott was even talking about it on the broadcast today. Like, hey, Cleveland fans, do the same thing in those tight spots. And I don't think anybody took this into consideration ahead of time, but it had James Karinchak on the moon. He wasn't even in the same ballpark anymore. As soon as he got that violation, he airmails the throw. I'm like, oh, he's cooked. Like, this is going to be bad. Obviously gives up the 3-run homer to tie France, and that was ball game. And I wish I could say it got better, but this is my thing with Karinchak. I think he's I'm not ready to give up on him, anything like that. I wouldn't be mad if they let him work on this technology stuff in AAA. He's had issues with his pitch comm device too. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think we should see more of Nick Sandlin, De Los Santos. We should see more of those guys in those high leverage situations because he's not it right now. He's had one horrific inning, one good inning, one horrific inning, one good inning. Oh no. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. He's had 3 appearances. It's been bad, good, bad.
Mm-hmm. And you know, our pitchers and pitchers in general, they're creatures of habit. But Karinchak is definitely at like the elite level of that. Yeah. So it's going to take him time. The good news is what? his health is fine. His arm is fine. It's just about getting his
It's his
timing
head.
down. Yep.
His
And
damn head.
yeah, and if you want to start talking about pitchers that are in their own head, you know where we're going to be going next with that one.
Yeah, I mean, before we get back to the rest of these Seattle games, Zach Plesac, I can't even say his name. He irritates me so bad. Anybody who has listened to this podcast or follows me on Twitter knows how I feel about Zach Plesac. This is not a reactionary take to his start the other day. This is a feeling I've had for 2 years. You need to move him. There are at least 6 different pitchers I could name right now who could start in his place in the rotation and give you the same fifth starter type stats, and you wouldn't have any of the headaches that Zach Plesac brings. I mean, he imploded in Oakland, didn't even get out of the second inning. I understand his defense wasn't great the first inning, but he had the lead going into the second inning, and he could not record an out. And my issue is he had his meltdown, his little wham-wham meltdown in the dugout, like he always does. Then in his post-game interview, he's like, I was fine. Everything was fine. It just wasn't my night. My dude, you were throwing 87 miles an hour flat down the middle of the plate. You're telling me you were fine? It's like, and this is a thing with
Right.
Plesac. It's a victim mentality. Oh, why does this happen to me? It's never like, you know what? I suck tonight. I have been awful and I am doing everything I can to get better. It's just like, I was fine. Just wasn't my night.
Well, what do? We we go out and spot him 2 runs. The guy finally gets the run support, right? And then we get 2 outs. And then that ball that was hit, short center, slightly towards shortstop, right in between everybody, and the ball just dropped. Now we had wind, right? That was something they were talking about during the telecast, was the wind, but that was just the beginning of the end of one ball dropping. And it's almost like you can feel a deflation of the guys on the team that, like, oh no, all right, Zach, keep it together. My problem with Zach Plesac is, first of all, I want the guy to just pitch and be fine, right? I wish it was with us, but right now, the way he's going, it's probably not going to happen. I don't think he's going to be on this roster that much longer. I want the guy to be okay. But bottom line is, you can tell. How about Matt Underwood and Rick Manning when they're talking about him? And the camera is showing in the dugout, like the pitching coach Willis is trying to talk to him and try to, keep him together. They know that he is absolutely fragile. I don't know. Well, yeah, that's true. Punching a mound and injured with your jersey and all that crap.
Yeah, being fragile probably leads to him.
But it's
feeling volatile. I would say
he's a house of cards when it comes with his starts, and man, as soon as something small happens, it just seems like it's over, and it shouldn't be that way, man. He's got he's a decent pitcher.
Yeah,
he's a hell of a fielder for a pitcher.
There were some positives out of, obviously they ended up winning the game, which is insanity, but Xavier Curry, and I know I'm biased, I love the kid, but he came in and completely saved the bullpen. Could you imagine if he didn't give us, what was it, 5 innings? I think he gave us.
Yeah, it was. If it wasn't 5, it was damn close.
Yeah, so he went 5 innings, gave up only two runs, which was a 1 mistake hanging breaking ball to Laureano. So it just came on 1 swing of the bat. Other than that, he was perfect. Struck out 3, didn't walk anybody, didn't punch any mounds, didn't break any bones, didn't cuss anybody out, didn't do anything, just went out and pitched his ass off. And, there were reports that Plesac was going to be down in the bullpen today. He could pitch a couple innings, his side session, whatever, just trying to get him fixed, basically. I'm at the point now where it's like, Hunter Gaddis is pitching his ass off. Aaron Savali, he's our clear number 2. The way he pitched in Seattle on Saturday, it was the best I've ever seen Aaron Savali. I've been saying he's going to return to 2021 pre-injury form where he was going to be an all-star. And he went 7 innings, gave up 2 hits, 1 walk, allowed no runs. That's our clear number 2. Cal still scares the shit out of me. Gaddis is outperforming anything I would have expected for him. Then you have Xavier Curry. And there's two scenarios I see happening here that I'd be happy with. I would love for them to just send Zach Plesac to AAA to work out his mechanics, confidence, whatever the hell is wrong with this dude. What we're trying to win, the games in April do matter. We're not like rebuilding where he can work out all this stuff on the major league team. They're probably not going to do that, at least not until like May, maybe June. But my thought was, if you're not going to send him down, hear me out. How about you have Zach Plesac as an opener for Xavier Curry? Plesac is really good in one inning. He was in the playoffs last year. He's good. He can handle one inning. I'm fine with that. Xavier Curry did really well warming up in the bullpen, coming in and giving you a solid 5 innings as like the old school long man. Maybe that could be a formula that works. It's out there.
But Mel, we don't have to cater to Zach Plesac to try to make it work.
But you know how this organization is. They are not going to send him down. He didn't even deserve to make this team.
So let's look at last year. Let's look at who started and didn't last long. Bobby Bradley.
Yeah, Mays typically when they
Oscar Mercado,
Jake Bauer a couple of years ago, Yu
yeah.
Chang. Mays typically when they make those decisions.
Yep.
And if they would have just traded him 2 years ago when his value was never higher, they would have got something from him. And now I fear you're not even going to be able to trade him. You definitely can't trade him now. If anything, send him down and hopefully he regains some value. If not, you got to cut your losses because I think both sides need a fresh start. And we talk about all these young arms coming up, right? Tim Herron made his major league debut on Sunday. Ooh. Super cool story. His parents were in Seattle all weekend, just dying to see their son make his major league debut. He didn't get in the game. They were due to leave Seattle before the game on Sunday. They said, you know what? Let's stick it out another day. Let's just hope we can see him pitch today while we're out here. Tim Herron ends up getting in the ball game because Cal wasn't good. Again, not surprised. He defied data all year last year. The luck was bound to catch up to him. He's gonna be have us on the edge of our seats all year. That's another conversation. But Tim Herron ended up coming in the game, faced 4 batters, struck every single one of them out. And according to Sarah Langs, Tim Herron is the first pitcher since 1901 to face 4+ batters in his major league debut and strike them all out. That's insane. He's not even like one of our best arms. And he just came in and struck out 4 of the very good Seattle hitters like it was nothing. He did give up a 2-run homer today. But again, the umpire missed a strike 3 call. I'm not one to blame umpires, but that was a blatant strike 3 the umpire missed. And sure as shit, the next pitch is a 3-run homer. Besides the point, we won. It's fine. But Tim Herron, if we could have that other lefty in the pen with Sam Hentges when he gets back.
Yep.
That is going to be deadly come playoff time. And he can get righties out too, just like Hentges. They're like the same person. It's so cool. They just keep producing them in this system.
Isn't that great? That we have such a strong organization that can develop pitching. And I was kind of mad over the weekend because after I watched Herron pitch, I forget who the guest was on local sports radio, but they mentioned about Herron reminding them of like, whoa, hello, Andrew Miller. I'm like, no, save that. I want to save that for the pod.
Right.
I mean, definitely not as tall, but the way that ball was coming across the plate, my goodness. Nice start. And
you could say they have a type.
Yes. He learned his lessons with the walks today and then the home run, 12 pitch at bat by Aguilar in order to take him deep to go 4-4. But once again, his team picked him up.
And that's what it's about. And the same thing happened on Sunday. Just to wrap that Seattle series up, Sunday was one of the first of 4 extra inning games the Guardians played. They had 7 straight games to open the season. The last 4 have went to extra innings. And Sunday, ugly game. They shouldn't have won that game. Tito left Josh Naylor in to face a lefty, and he bounced a ball to the pitcher, which 9.9 times out of 10 is going to be a double play, and you don't score any runs. They got lucky, throwing error. They win the game. I don't care. I don't care what it looks like. You got the W. And I said it on Twitter. I do not care that it's April. I did not care that it was the first series of the year. That was a big win on Sunday. You went into Seattle against a very talented team in a really tough environment, and you took the series after losing the opener. You took a 4-game series after losing the opener. Yes. I mean, and they faced adversity throughout that. We talked about Cal Quantrill. You had Jose. I mean, we're going to get to him in a second, but Stephen Kwan picked up the slack, had 5 RBIs on Saturday. Aaron Savali showed he can be your number 2 right now. I mean, a lot of questions were answered, and obviously we
Did you say that again about Savali? Did you just say Aaron Savali can be your number 2? Hold on, I want to write that down.
Yeah, he could be our number 2.
Are you sure?
Until Tristan gets back.
Okay, all right.
Not forever. Just
I know.
We're just
but
trying
still,
to
just to even mention number 2.
Yeah, we're weathering this storm until Tristan gets back.
Yes, but it was a great weekend. We were talking about that throw to first base, and the throwing error. That is what our team is about. We are a fast team that puts pressure on their defense. We play great defense, but it's one thing to be a team of speed that we have a lot of. It's another thing to be great at base running. And that's exactly what we are. We're not just fast, we're smart. We make good decisions on the base path. Jose Ramirez tagging in Oakland from a fly ball, short left field, tagging from third base and getting that all-important run. So that way we could keep that game tied eventually and then win an extra innings in Oakland. I mean, there's so many things in the first 7 games that we've watched that's exciting. And to be 5-2 right now, it's a great feeling getting ready for opening day on Friday.
Jose did the same thing Monday in extra innings. And I know he's frustrated because where is his power? You know, he's had a lot of weak pop-ups. He's working through some things still. Obviously not super far removed from his hand surgery. He almost hit one out in the 3rd inning today. I thought for sure it was gone. But Monday, he's still finding ways to impact the game in so many ways. And that's what makes him the leader of this team. He came through in extras on Monday. This was the Plesac game where Curry came in. It was just tons of offense. Naylor homered again. Miles Straw had a 2-run double. He's the best Guardians hitter right now to open the year. And I am going to be eating every single one of my words if this keeps up, because I had Will Brennan taking over for him.
But that's what we like about Miles Straw. We like that grit. We want him to hit. And he's finally doing it.
I'll eat it.
We love that glove. We love his grit, his speed on the base paths. So that's what competition makes you better.
I've loved the fight. That I saw this week. I mean, they bent, but they didn't break. Monday, Clase gives up a 2-run homer, blows the save to Seth Brown, who randomly kills the Guardians. I don't know what we did to that man.
Yeah, no kidding.
But again, they went 3-1 in those extra inning games. You're heading back to Cleveland 5-2, ready to take on Seattle and the Yankees at your ballpark. I mean, that's a great position to be in. And also some more good news. Sam Hench's Cody Morris began throwing off a mound this week. Todd Paquette reports that Sam Hench's is a little further along than Cody Morris. But again, we're talking about pitching. We get more pitching reinforcements who are going to be fresh coming back. And that is only going to help us. This next wave of Guardians. This is our Down on the Farm report. Columbus is the only affiliate that's underway. Akron, I think, home opener is tomorrow or Friday. The other ones are going to start getting underway as well. Injury update there. George Valera's hanging back in Goodyear to rehab his injury. He's about 2 weeks out from joining Columbus, so luckily he's not going to miss too much of the season. He'll be back in the fold there. But the 3 guys tearing up AAA right now are the exact 3 guys you would expect. Tyler Freeman, Bo Naylor, and Brian Rocchio. And we all know Tyler Freeman should be in the major leagues. There's just literally nowhere to play him. So he got the shaft and is in Columbus. But he's absolutely crushing the ball. Bo looks great. He's been hitting massive home runs. I mean, the ball's flying.
Phenomenal.
The ball is flying off his bat over like 105 miles an hour. Like, this kid is hungry, and I think we see him by midseason. Because I don't know what the hell. I saw someone tweet, I think it was Fran Mill's eyebrow, that he was a traffic cone behind home plate. And I was just dying laughing because this dude could not block a beach ball right now.
Yeah,
It's
they
insane.
talked about, whether or not it's still health related, trying to come back, get your flexibility, get your movement. But
yeah, and I'm not judging him yet.
I don't, but still, I think it feels more like Jake Taylor from Major League at spring training than it does that Zunino is going to turn, all of a sudden turn this around.
Yeah, and Bo's sitting there like, I'm just going to keep raking in the meantime because we all know my defense is good. And Brian Rocchio, he's quite literally knocking the door to Cleveland down. And this is what we thought would happen, that one of these guys in the minors is going to ultimately force the organization's hand into doing something. Ahmed Rosario looks awful to start the year. In his defense, he's always been a notoriously slow starter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not passing too much judgment yet, but it looks like his head's elsewhere. Like, his at-bats haven't been competitive. He's made a couple errors. Brian Rocchio's right there. He's hitting 375 with an OPS over 1.037. He had a 3-hit game yesterday, got on base 4 times. He is ready whenever they make that call. I just don't know what you do with the Met. I think you got to wait till the offseason now.
Yeah, I know. Just based on the chemistry of the team, and how tight he is with Jose. And they
treat him like a superstar and leave him in that number 2 hole, even though he has zero situational awareness being in that 2 hole. Stephen Kwan tried to steal a base today 4 times, and Rosario kept fouling the ball off. If you don't let this man steal second, you got him out here running wind sprints in Game 7. Like, bro, your aggressiveness is killing you in this 2 hole.
So I heard a conversation, we're talking about Jimenez, that when Brian Rocchio is ready to come up, who's going where? What do you think, Mel? Who's playing short? Is Hemi going to short?
Yeah, I'd put Jimenez at short and Rocchio at second.
Mm.
But then you have Gabriel Arias. I think he's too good to be a utility guy. He's probably our best defensive shortstop in the system, and you got him over at first base. And that's frustrating, and it sucks. And I don't know what they do with him. I don't know if he wins the job somehow over Rocchio, or is Tyler Freeman traded. It's going to be fascinating to see who's available to acquire at the deadline. And we're finally going to know how this organization feels about their prospects, who they end up trading. Last thing on the farm report, starters really struggling. Luckily, none of the top guys are part of this, but the team started 0-4, and through the first 3 games, the Columbus starters' ERA as combined was over 14. That included Peyton Battenfield, though, which is a tad bit concerning. Logan Allen goes tonight, and followed by the much anticipated debut of Tanner Bybee tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So let's hope we see Tanner Bybee sooner rather than later, because that kid looks pretty close to ready, and that's going to be fun.
Yeah, we know his dad's fired up, and we see his tweets out on Twitter. He's super excited for him. So
that's going to be a blast when he gets called up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for that too.
Well,
I did want to talk one other thing though, Mel. We're talking about the pitch clock and different rule changes, but some of the notes we had over the first 4 game series from over the weekend is that 70 stolen bases, most through 4 days since 1998. Successful stolen base percentage in 2022 was 75%. It's now up to 84%, which once again puts more pressure on Mike Zunino. Average time a game from last year, we were at 3 hours and 6 minutes, and man, it sure doesn't feel like it got better because of our lack of sleep because of our West Coast scheduling. But we are averaging at 2 hours and 38 minutes a game.
And the Guardians have had 4 extra inning games.
Extra inning games. We're like
totally negate that.
Yeah. We're like, we're going to get some sleep. And they're like, hold my beer.
Yeah, they're like, we don't like these shortened games. We want to keep playing for 3.5 hours.
Exactly.
But I want to thank everybody for listening once again, continuing to support us. Make sure you're following the podcast page at Guardians OTCLE. We're going to have some exciting news coming out here. New logo, possibly thinking about some merchandise. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. I'll probably post a poll on the Twitter page sometime shortly. So be on the lookout for that. Any other announcements related to the podcast? We got week 1 in the books, everybody. I know we're all sleep deprived. I am going to sleep after this recording is over. But up ahead, we got the home opener Friday. We got the series with Seattle and then an ALDS rematch against the Yankees to follow. I will be down at the stadium on Saturday and on Tuesday. So if anybody's down there, send me a message, or if you see me, make sure you stop by and say hello. I'd love to chat with you. But we got some good pitching matchups. Friday, we got Logan Gilbert versus Savali. Saturday, a lefty, Marco Gonzalez versus Cal. That's the game I'm at. I'm sure I'm going to really be enjoying myself with Cal Quantrill on the mound, making me spit out my French fries every 2 seconds when he sends a ball to the warning track.
Too expensive to do that. Don't do that.
Right. It's like these tickets are loaded with food. That gets you like a hot dog and maybe a cup of water these days.
Yeah.
But I'd pay any amount of money for the experience down at Progressive Field. Sunday, George Kirby, no relation to me, versus Plesac,
His
maybe.
loss.
Yeah, right. And then Monday, it's looking like Garrett Cole versus Shane Bieber, which I cannot wait if that is the case. Fun week of baseball ahead. Thank you, everybody, once again. Make sure you head over to believelandmediallc.com for all your general sports podcasts and written content. We got you covered at the professional level, the Ohio State Buckeyes, as well as high school sports. We are now into baseball, softball, track and field season. Good luck to all the athletes competing out there. And happy Easter to everybody. I hope you have a wonderful, relaxing weekend with all your families. And go Guardians this weekend. I hope everyone has a blast at the home opener. And we'll be back with you next week.
Absolutely. Everybody enjoy the home opener this weekend. Baseball is back. Regular season baseball. It counts. It matters. Every game, every inning. Get out there, have some fun. Mel and I are talking about having a public appearance together. More details on that in the future. Follow me on Twitter at @thefritz330. Check out and get on Instagram. Follow our Guardians of the CLE podcast on Instagram. Thank you.
And everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and go Guardians.
Go Guardians.
We'll see you next week.